This is Plant-Based Briefing. Is it embarrassing to order dairy milk at a coffee shop? Gen Z thinks so, by Maxwell Rabb at Beet.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, and this is the curated content plant-based podcast, where I search the internet and find a variety of content on plant-based, compassionate, and eco-friendly living, get permission, and read it to you here in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. This podcast is sponsored by plantpoweredvoiceover.com, which is my freelance voiceover business. Essentially, that's what I do to make money, and that helps me pay to run this podcast as well. So check that out if you need to hire any voiceover services for corporate videos, e-learning, explainer videos, telephone answering systems. I'd love to be your voice. You can hear my demos and some of my work at plantpoweredvoiceover.com or plantpoweredvo.com. And today's episode is from the Beet.com. They're a plant-based media platform, and they offer a variety of information on food, health news, product launches, reviews, expert advice. They cover such a great range of plant-based information. I recommend following them on social media. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. Is it embarrassing to order dairy milk at a coffee shop? Gen Z thinks so, by Maxwell Rabb at thebeet.com. Gen Z is worried about the planet. Younger generations born into a world concerned about the climate crisis are left with no option but to take action into their own hands. Young consumers worldwide have shifted to plant-based and sustainable lifestyles to help combat the worsening climate crisis. Now nearly half, 49%, of Gen Z consumers feel ashamed when ordering dairy milk in public, proving that dairy shame is real. Conducted by UK-based dairy cooperative Arla, the data signifies a drastic shift in consumer interests as dairy increasingly falls out of favor with younger generations. Arla, a coalition that includes 12,000 farmers in Europe, collected this data in an effort to convince these cohorts to return to dairy products. The study, however, reveals the extent of Gen Z's concerns regarding the climate crisis. Nearly half, 49%, felt ashamed to order dairy in public in front of their peers, the Arla press release states. Quote, although the data showed that 70% of Gen Z would prefer to continue to drink dairy, an alarming 57% plan to give it up in the next year. Almost a third, 29%, even admitted to only ordering dairy alternatives when in public, reverting to their favored choice of dairy when in the comfort and privacy of their own homes. The research carried out by dairy cooperative Arla highlights the need to balance the conversation when it comes to food and the health of our planet. 3/4, 75% of the UK are concerned for the future of the world we live in, but the rise in cancel culture is playing too much of an influence in the way that we make decisions relating to our diets, unquote. Arla intends to promote its Don't Cancel the Cow campaign with these polls, but Gen Z's shameful feelings likely stem from animal agriculture's negative impacts on the planet. Current estimates suggest that 87.5% of Gen Z is worried about the environment. This worry coincides with the rise of the climatarian, a person that prioritizes sustainability when shopping for food, clothing, and more. Currently, 55% of all consumers shop with sustainability in mind, especially among millennial and Gen Z shoppers. The value of plant-based food. Despite Arla's attempts to attract younger generations to dairy, the collective is attempting to introduce plant-based products to its brands. The world is increasingly concerned with sustainability, motivating Arla to launch Jord in 2020, a brand that features several oat milk-based alternatives including oat and barley, and oat and hemp. The coalition also intends to reach net zero emissions by 2050, an especially difficult task with cow-derived methane, and hopes Jord can help meet these goals. At Arla, we are committed to deliver in the plant-based category. We have the willingness and the capability to serve what the consumers desire, both in the dairy and plant-based categories, and we believe that the Jord brand and our natural oats drinks meet these expectations. Hannah Sondergaard, Executive Vice President for Global Marketing and Innovation in Arla, said in a statement. The 3 plant drinks are made with organic and Nordic ingredients and contain up to 50% more oat than current market leaders. parameters that have tested very well with the consumers. Climate crisis hits mainstream. Though Arla claims the shame Gen Z feels stems from cancel culture and the internet, it is likely influenced by the worsening environmental conditions, especially in recent years. Extreme weather events cost the U.S. an unprecedented $145 billion of damage last year, according to the U.S. National Centers for Environmental Information. With hundreds of lives lost and environmental disasters rampant, the UN's climate report has placed meat and dairy industries in the hot seat, asserting the link between the two is undeniable. To prevent climate change, meat and dairy consumption must be significantly curbed. At the UN Climate Change Conference last year, 8 countries announced that they pledged to cut methane emissions by 30% by 2030, which is only possible by reducing cattle livestock. The coalition claimed that cutting methane is the single most effective strategy in reducing global warming. Producing cow's milk is significantly more taxing to the environment when compared to plant-based counterparts. The animal-based production produces 3 times as much greenhouse gas emissions, wastes 2 to 20 times as much water, and requires 10 times as much land. Animal agriculture, meat and dairy, accounts for more than 60% of food-related greenhouse gases. You just listened to Is It Embarrassing to Order Dairy Milk at a Coffee Shop? Gen Z Thinks So, by Maxwell Rabb at thebeet.com. I love this study. It makes me so happy to know that the young are waking up and they realize that their choices make a difference. They matter, especially choices that they make multiple times a day, such as with diet. And I love how it ties in with episodes 275 and 276, the Switch for Good theory of change, where they believe dairy is a catalyst for all of the dietary change. And switching dairy and eggs are some of the easiest switches because there are great alternatives out there. There are plant-based alternatives for every kind of dairy, and they're amazing nowadays. And Just Egg is an amazing egg replacer. They're scrambled eggs, they're folded flat eggs, they're amazing. And they're cruelty-free and not as harmful for the environment. So check out episodes 275 and 276 if you haven't already. And please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.